Welcome back to the Buff Animator YouTube channel, where today we are talking and responding to a clip that we saw on TikTok. Roll the clip.
Very honest and straight with you, but no fight between Goku and a character from the big three is fair whatsoever. Goku by himself is so much more powerful than the entirety of the big three combined. And that includes somebody like Ywhach, who I would say is the most powerful person in the big three.
Oh my god, where do we start? So just as a recap, in Tizzy's video, he's saying that Goku beats Ywhach, which I gotta disagree. That is completely incorrect. And he's also sitting here saying that Goku outpowers Ywhach, when again, I'm gonna say that's incorrect. So in this video, not only are we going to go over some of Goku's scaling and why I think some of his scaling is very inconsistent, but as well as Ywhach's scaling, but we're not going to go into the crazy scalings of Ywhach merged with the Soul King. We're just going to talk about Ywhach himself and some of the feats that he's done. Yes, we are going to touch up one of the things that Ywhach did while merged with the Soul King, but we're not going to add some of the Soul King's feats to Ywhach, even though he would have access to those feats as well. But before we get into that, if you like anime and manga, the lore behind said anime and manga, and a little bit of power scaling thrown in here and there, go ahead and hit the like, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell icon so you get notified every time we post something. And if you are already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and tell me in the comments who's your favorite character from each of these two series. Now, as previously stated before, we are going over Son Goku first, and I primarily want to focus on Dragon Ball Super, primarily because that's where we see some of his strongest feats. And the first feat I want to talk about is the feat of him shaking the two universes when he was fighting Beerus. Now, to remain consistent, I'm going to use the manga version and not the anime version because these are two separate canons. And another reason because of that is because the manga goes a little bit further than the anime currently does. And in one of the other feats that I want to talk about, I have to go a little bit further into the Dragon Ball Super manga that the anime just hasn't caught up on yet. And it would be completely disingenuous of me to start from the anime, go all the way up to the anime, and then do manga feats and do comparisons to manga feats as well, since they are two separate canons. When Goku and Beerus were fighting above Earth during the Battle of Gods arc, we see that every time that Goku and Beerus clash while they are in space, a rippling effect goes out throughout the universe that affects the Kai's universe as well, which has been stated to be a separate universe from that universe. Essentially, the Kai's universe is an adjacent universe to Universe 7 that still technically belongs to Universe 7, but is still a universal sized body. Now, while Goku and Beerus were clashing, they caused ripples within the fabric of Universe 7 that could threaten the destruction of not only Universe 7, but was also felt in the Kai's universe as well. Now, I hate to break it to Dragon Ball fans, but this statement that is made by the Kais of it destroying the universe is most likely hyperbole. And I know what most of you are going to say,
but Buff, the shaking of the two universes and the waves being felt in the Kai's verse.
Here's the thing, other than the entire universe shaking, there is no sign of actual damage to the universe whenever this clash happens. Let's take this box, for example, and say this box is the universe and the contents of the universe are obviously inside of this box. They're going to be represented by these coins in here. And if I take this box and I shake it up a whole bunch, the universe itself is not getting damaged, even though it's getting shaken up. However, the contents in the universe can receive damage from the being shaken up. And that's not even considering the fact that this is a combined feat, so it's not even Goku's feat alone. See, when a shockwave is produced by a clash, the shockwave's force is the sum of the two energies colliding. And this isn't even getting into the fact that this feat is inconsistent, because we see Goku clash with other opponents when he is much stronger with no type of repercussion to the surrounding universe.
Aha! I got you! It's because of his ki control!
And while yes, in some of these cases, ki control is a valid excuse for why, we don't see repetition in Goku's feats, whenever he gets a new power that he doesn't know how to control, yet he clashes with an opponent, we would still see those actions because he doesn't know how to control that level of ki when he first gets that transformation. Another thing that I see a lot of Goku fans use when they bring up an opponent that a lot of people don't think that Goku can beat is they bring up the fact that Goku
can use Hakai.
That is not entirely true. Whenever Goku is going against Zumasu, he tries to attempt to use and imitate Hakai. He even states later on that whenever he tried to imitate Hakai, he failed. And Beerus then notes that only people who have learned Hakai from a destroyer can use Hakai, and that is indicated by a earring on their ear. Now, for the other feat I want to bring up, I am going to have to break the rule that I said previously that I wouldn't include anime feats and compare them to manga feats. However, I understand this is a little bit disingenuous, but it feeds into my point. The next point I want to talk about is Goku shaking the void with his scream that he did in the anime during the Tournament of Power. This is one of the biggest feats that people use to get Goku to a multiversal feat because he was able to shake the endless void with his scream alone. However, in the manga, whenever he receives a high amount of power and does the exact same scream over again, in fact, he has received so much God Ki that he himself can barely control it, and he screams like this, it doesn't do anything to the planet that he is currently on, which was Earth, as well as it doesn't do anything to Universe 7 or any of the surrounding universes. So again, this is a little bit inconsistent, and ki control can't really be explained away from this, seeing as it's so much power that he has never obtained by himself naturally because it was loaned to him through Oob. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into Ywhach's feats. For this, we need to understand a little bit of the cosmology of the Bleach Macroverse. But there's only 4 layers of the Bleach Macroverse that I really want to touch up on for this example. And that is going to be the World of the Living, the Soul Society, and Hueco Mundo, as well as the Valley of Screams. First, let's go over the Valley of Screams. The Valley of Screams is an area where millions, an infinite number of souls, in fact, are stored. And in order to store an infinite number of souls, you have to have an infinite number of space, meaning that this area would have to be larger than Universal on a 4D scale. Secondly, Hueco Mundo is also said to be infinite on a 4D scale as well, making it as big or bigger than a 4D universal model. The Soul Society houses Muken, which is also infinite on a 4D model, and in order to house something that is infinite, the Soul Society in itself would have to be infinite as well. And lastly, we have the World of the Living, which we have seen numerous amounts of stars, as well as a star of its own and the moon, and is similar to our universe here in the real world, meaning that it is also a universal body. So that is 3 above universal locations, as well as a universal body, which is the World of the Living. Now, after Ywhach was killed 1,000 years ago, his body was taken to the Vanderreich in the shadows of the Soul Society. After he regained his pulse and regained his mind, he sought to regain his power. In doing so, he was able to reach across an entire dimension into another universe in order to kill multiple people. So not only was he able to evade the concept of death and bring himself back to life after he was struck down and killed and had 0 pulse, but he was also able to reach into another universe in order to kill millions of impure Quincy's. This feat alone can easily get him into the multiversal category. However, let's go over another feat that he acquired after he merged with the Soul King. After Ywhach was merged with the Soul King, he sought out to return the worlds into once they once were. If you don't know, millions of years ago, whenever the world had no form and it was just basically a barren wasteland, the Soul King came and basically freed the souls that were being assaulted by the Hollows. Afterwards, 5 noble families joined together and they betrayed the Soul King and used his power to divide the worlds into separate bodies. Essentially, they used his power to turn one universe into 4 separate universes. And when Ywhach gained the Soul King's power, he was reversing that, colliding all 4 of those universes back into one singular universe. Now, with his feats out of the way, let's go over a little bit into Ywhach's powers. Ywhach's primary ability is the Almighty, which is said to be able to allow him to gaze into the future and hand select which outcome of the future that he wants to become true, as well as manipulate those individual futures to fit his favor. Not only that, he can also peer into the future, see any abilities, and know exactly how those abilities work. After he knows how an ability works, those abilities can no longer be used to harm him. Therefore, he also has a form of ability negation. But not only does Ywhach have access to the Almighty, he also has access to all of the scripts that he steals back from the Stern Ritters that he has done the Ashwayland to. Because it is stated that after he comes in contact with someone's soul, their soul is then intertwined with his, and when they die, their powers return to him. And this is especially true for the powers that he gives out to his other Stern Ritters. With this evidence, I believe that not only does Ywhach have the ability to out-hacks Goku, but also he is stronger than Goku as well. Given that he has better multiversal feats and is more consistent with those multiversal feats, rather than Goku's, who's kind of is just a one-off and then kind of retcon later. But hey, look, if you think that I am absolutely out of my fucking mind when it comes to this, go ahead and drop it in the comments. Tell me that I'm wrong. Hell, make another video and tell me that I'm wrong in your video and tell me why I'm wrong. But until next time, get buff and watch some fucking anime.